Hi, my name is Archie and I'm working with my friend Ben, who's behind the camera there, on a documentary about Hastings Pier. That's Hastings in England, as in the Battle of Hastings. And the latest battle is to save the pier. The reason I want to make this documentary is that I moved to Hastings 5 years ago and spent a lot of time on the pier with my partner and my daughter, and came to love the pier as a structure to go and sit on and play and drink beer and have fun, and also got very intrigued by the pier's pop history. So in the ballroom on the pier, I was told that pop figures such as Jimi Hendrix, the Rolling Stones, the Who, the Kinks, then later on the Sex Pistols and the Clash, and then even later on the 80s and 90s raves, all these events took place on that pier. 1 month after we moved to Hastings, the pier shut down because there were problems with the substructure and it became dangerous. And then a pressure group started up to try and save the pier. So on and off in that 5-year period, I've been filming the progress of the pier and its fight back. That took a very serious step in October of 2010 when the pier caught fire, and it looked like that was going to be the end of the whole story. But actually that inspired what had become the Pier Trust to step up a gear, and they have amazingly successfully got Heritage Lottery funding to repair the substructure of the pier. So Ben and I are now charting that progress. That is quite a long-term project then, obviously, but we are getting great interviews with the trustees, who are a very, very interesting bunch of people. And we also, of course, have our wish list of musicians that we want to interview. To begin that process, I managed to get the last ever interview with the sadly departed Polystyrene, whose band X-Ray Specs were created by Polly as a result of seeing the Sex Pistols play on Hastings Pier. So what we are appealing for is any money you can spare so that we can finish off the photography on this documentary. We want to go and film every pier in the UK, there's 55 of them, including Hastings, and pay for some footage of people like Jimi Hendrix. So whatever you can give us, that would be fantastic. Thanks very much.
Good evening. You join me next to what remains of Hastings Pier, most of the 138-year-old structure all but destroyed by fire.
And it was horrible. It was like seeing an old friend dying and being hurt.
I live in Marine Court, so I could watch it burn, and it was very sad to see.
It's given everybody something to fight for, and it's part of our heritage, and it would be a real sad thing to see it lost.
My name's Angela Davis. I'm a trustee for the Hastings Pier and White Rock Trust. Originally, the organisation was set up as the Friends of Hastings Pier. The pier initially closed in 2006.
Dangerous structure.
Okay.
Sorry. This front bit's open.
So the pier closed when the council were carrying out a standard structural inspection and decided that it really seemed to pose a danger. It was the substructure. You have some fantastic columns that are very stable, but you need to have the cross bracing to stabilise those columns. And it hasn't been maintained over a number of years. When it became clear that no private investor was actually available to invest in the pier and take it on as a viable business proposition, the Friends of Hastings Pier realised that they needed to actually form a development trust.
I think a seaside resort without a pier is lacking something, and we hope in Hastings we can bring our pier back to life. I'm Councillor Jeremy Birch and I'm the leader of Hastings Borough Council. We've committed and spent about £750,000 so far since the campaign to save the pier. We've put money aside for the compulsory purchase, which we've now committed ourselves to. We spent a substantial amount of money in helping to clear up after the fire, including removing the most dangerous and unsightly twisted metal and so on from the pier, and we had to secure it with our own wardens and security staff at the time. And we've committed ourselves to £250,000 to assist in the match funding that will be required to gain the Heritage Lottery bid. So yeah, we're not just committed in words. You know, we've put our money where our mouth is here. We are committed to the maintenance and the restoration of Hastings Pier, and I think Hastings people are behind us on that one.
Hey, this pier, guys, let's make some noise!
I'm actually visiting today. I've come up from Essex to visit my son, who's lived here for 10 years, and obviously I know all about the pier being burnt down and everything, so I think it's a wonderful thing that you're trying to keep something like this going, like, you know.
The pier had all sorts of fun things on it, and I can remember back to the time when there were discos and things that we weren't supposed to go to, but we did. And then when the shops were on there, I could take my grandchildren there. It's kind of a picture of life, really.
Well, I used to come here many years ago when I was a child. And my mum and dad, when they were there, they used to go over to the old White Rock Hotel there and give me about some pennies, you know, the old-fashioned pennies. And I used to go on the pier paying the penny machines.
We used to come down, just walk around and be able to look out to sea, all the people fishing down there, and it was a great place to have a pint at the end of the evening and watch the sunset. That was really quite special.
I think there's great history in the pier. I also think it sums up the health of the town. It's kind of like a barometer. If the pier's in good shape, it says that the town's in good shape.
Yeah, I'm Mike Spooner from DRMM Architects. We were selected through an international competition to assist the Trust with helping them to develop a sustainable vision for the pier's redevelopment. This is an opportunity to think afresh, and that's what we're hearing from a lot of those who are dropping by the stall. There's a huge amount of passion. You see that in the Trust, you see that in the volunteers, a huge amount of passion for the pier, and we're reassuring them that we're working with the Trust to help secure funding, working with the local council and the Trust to get the emergency works done so that the actual structure of the pier is protected and safeguarded, that the pier is made safe. And then we get into designing it, which is normally when we get involved. So
we've approached the Heritage Lottery Fund to apply for just over £8 million to help us to really stabilise the substructure. So by the end of that spend, what we're anticipating is that we will actually have a fully restored substructure, the deck actually replaced and the railings replaced, and also an apprenticeship to build up the next generation of pier engineers. So to really help sustain this so that the project not only benefits Hastings Pier but actually provides that skilled workforce for the other 55 piers in this country.
When I was still at school, I had a summer job on Hastings Pier, and my job was scraping the chewing gum off the ballroom floor. So I've made the offer, in fact I've made the commitment to the Hastings Pier and White Rock Trust that when the pier reopens, I will take up my scraper again and I will clear any chewing gum off Hastings Pier boardroom, at least for one day anyway.